again to Stric K Tly Baseball right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports. The Earlham baseball team on a roll right now. They've won 4 straight, and I think it's now 6 out of their last 7, and a huge conference doubleheader coming up on Friday as they take on Defiance on the road. We'll talk about that matchup coming up in just a couple of moments. Steve SAKOSITS joining us, or SAKOSITS as they call you over in Terre Haute. What? They can't get your name right over there, can they?
Not many people can. And we've always had a family joke is SAKOSITS actually sounds like a disease.
It does.
It sounds like something you don't want. I don't want a case of SAKOSITS. SAKOSITS, don't know that. SAKOSITS?
Yeah, get rid of the SAKOSITS.
Yeah.
I tried to get rid of that years ago, and it finally paid off. Hey, listen, I tell you what, you guys are kind of known as, we're going to go back and review a couple of these games, but I've been looking at your games over the last 3 out of 4. You're kind of the cardiac kids these days, aren't you?
Yeah, it's great for the fans, awful for the coaching staff,
Yeah.
but the fans are enjoying it knowing late. But we've got our kids resilient, and especially how young our kids are and how young we are as a team, and to have these kind of wins, they've got late in the game. Our kids, our team isn't worried about what the score is because we feel like we can have a chance. As long as we're within striking distance, we feel like we can get it done. You go back to the DePaul, we're down 2, we get 3. Yesterday we go up 1, they get back 1, we end up winning it late in the 11th. So it's a great group to be around. There's a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and they believe that they're gonna win the game somehow.
You have now 20 wins on the season, which sets yet another milestone, and you're not done yet, but that 20th win last night had to feel really good.
More so than 20th win, beating a quality ball club in
Yeah.
Wabash. That's the teams that we have to beat, that if we want to be there at the end, you got to beat those quality ball clubs. They're an 18-5 ball club going into that game. They're receiving votes. They're a team that will play against in the region, in the regional, and they're a team that will play in a conference tournament game. They're a very good ball club. They swing it. I think they're one of the better hitting teams in the country, and their team ERA was even better than ours. I think about a 3.15. So they're a very good ball club in a very good conference. They've had a lot of success this year, and so we were very pleased about beating quality ball club because that's what we're going to need. If it's going to be winning a conference championship or hopefully winning the conference championship, but also if you need to get an at-large bid, you got to beat and win games like that. We didn't get it against Heidelberg early in the year, but winning one against Wabash there I think was important.
I go back. You go to Terre Haute, you split there. Second game wasn't exactly the way you wanted it to go. You come back here.
You're saying we didn't want to give up 18?
Oh, I'm sure you didn't,
No.
but it was a rough afternoon, no doubt about it. Then you turn around, you come back home, you beat Hanover in 2, you rally in one of those games as well. Mm-hmm. You beat DePaul, and then, of course, again, your big win yesterday. Kind of give me an idea in that sequence there. What sparked it again to get you guys going again after that loss again in game number 2 against Rose?
Well, the game 2 really, as I joked around about 18, but that was just they swung it well that game, and that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just like last night you were going to have a winner and a loser. No matter how well both teams were playing or will play, someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. So, I just think the Rose game was just one of those games that just happened to not go our way, and we didn't play very well in that one. They hit it very well, and they got that one. The other games here, I think, is really kind of the team we are. Is we're gonna get a couple runs here or there. We're going to have sacrifice flies as opposed to last year getting the 3-run home run, and we're going to have to take care of our opportunities. And I think we're coming around as a team. We kind of talked about that yesterday before the game, but I do see a lot of progress in our kids, and that's what you want to see. You want to see your younger players getting better. I see leadership that I didn't see earlier on from our upperclassmen, the senior class, that it's tough to lead. It's tough to lead when you haven't been the leader in the years past. Someone else has, and so it's tough to be that voice. And now I think we have those guys. Kendall Baker last night got a 2-strike bunt down where he didn't get the bunt down the time before against I believe it was DePaul in that game. And I said, you're going to get this opportunity again some other time, and I know you're going to get it done. And the toughest one to do is that 2-strike bunt because if you foul back off, it's strikeout.
That's
and
right.
He got it down. And it's the leadership that those guys are having. The Ian Box, the Dorian Holmes, the Matt Mathias, those seniors. I'm really proud of what those guys have been able to pull off here with these younger guys and helping them understand what we do in this program, how we do it, and we're going to win the game no matter what the situation is.
Yeah, a lot of those things don't show up in the box score, do they?
No, they don't.
We all look for the hits and everything else, but you don't see something like that very often.
Exactly,
so,
and we knew he was going to get it done. He got it down, and Dre Davis coming up with another big hit last night. So it's a different group. You look at we had Corey Arnold come off the bench and get a big walk for us last night. And you look at the different situations, guys coming off the bench and doing things for us. Alec Bryan getting the sacrifice fly. as we tell Alec, he runs fast, so we really don't want to hit the ball in the air, but that time we were glad he did.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he had the big sacrifice fly to win it last night. You mentioned Corey Arnold, and he had a 2-strike count on him there, and I know he had struggled sometimes at the plate, but for him to have the patience to get that walk, that was huge too.
Yeah, Corey's a guy that does have the ability to drive a baseball, and that's why we want to put him out there in those situations that maybe you can put something in a gap or over a fence. And he's the last couple of games he's had a couple big walks for us in those situations. I'd like him to be a little bit more aggressive when he goes up to the plate there in those times, because he's kind of taken some pitches that I think early in the count that he could drive. But again, when he's getting in those bad counts, those 0-2 counts, he's still fighting pitches off and getting the pitcher to have to come and get him out. He's making that pitcher work for it. And yesterday he won that battle.
Yeah, he certainly did. Well, a big win again yesterday, but guess what? On the road to Defiance. It's a Friday doubleheader. We'll talk a little bit about why it's Friday, because I guess you got some bad weather coming up this weekend. They want to get these things in, and time is becoming a little bit of a factor. We'll talk with the head coach about that coming up next, right here on Strictly Baseball and Radio Troy Digital Sports.
I got this.
I got this.
I got this.
At Harrington Hogue, we believe your life belongs to you. That's why we work hard to make sure that your insurance coverage is the last thing you have to worry about. So when it comes to keeping you protected,
We got this.
Welcome back again to Strictly Baseball right here in Radio Troy Digital Sports. As we mentioned, the Quakers on the road on Friday. That is a schedule change. It's a 1 o'clock start time for game number 1 of the doubleheader. You go to Defiance. Before we talk about them, I would imagine, again, because of the weather situation that we're anticipating this weekend that could get a lot of rain, that's why it was moved up to Friday.
Yeah, as you know, I tried to get them to come this way. The rain is going to be worse there, and I said, hey, we're going to get some rain here, but obviously we have turf and lights. But they didn't go for that.
They didn't, yeah.
So we ended up looking at it, and we wanted to make sure we had enough time to tell our kids, to let their professors know that there's a chance there could be a game on the road during the day on Friday. So we, by looking at the weather and talking to Coach Woodley over at Defiance, the best bet for us to get the games in with the best weather would be Friday. So we're going to go up actually tonight. We're going to go overnight tonight and sleep up there, so we don't have to get on the bus in the morning, and we'll go and play them at a doubleheader starting at 1 o'clock. And it's a big series for us. All these series are big. You want to be there at the end, and we still want to have a chance to win this thing and host this conference tournament. That's our goal. And we got some teams that are in front of us. An Anderson team that's playing very well, and a Franklin team that only has 2 losses on the season. But we're pretty darn good ourselves, and so we want to give ourselves that opportunity to be able to get this thing back here at Earlham for this postseason, get into the postseason. But I think we have got a ball club that's good enough for us to be able to host this thing. But we got to take care of our series now. It's no longer where you can win best 2 out of 3. It's you either split or you get swept or you sweep somebody.
That's
so
right.
We're hoping we can sweep somebody.
Yeah, and by the way, I thought your influence would be a little bit better up at Defiance. You coached up there, correct? And they didn't buy it at all.
He knows all
did
my
they?
games. He knows exactly what I'm doing.
So did he say no immediately, or did he say, do you think about it, or he just...
I know there was no thought.
No
there was
thought,
no
no.
thought on his part. No, he didn't.
See, when you're the defending champions, no, we're not doing that.
No, and they also know what our record is at home. I think we're something like 16-2
You're
at home this year.
16-2, yeah.
I think overall our record in non-conference games, going back to that WABASH one, I think we're somewhere around 46-5 overall in the life of the stadium.
Wow.
Non-conference games here. So it's another thing we tell our kids. I know I'm kind of going off topic here, but we tell our kids that it's a tough place to play, and teams know that they've got what our record is at home, and it's tough to beat us, and let alone they have a lead in the last inning. The pressure's on them. The pressure's not on us.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Defiance. And so talk about that. Again, you're always going to have that bullseye on your back. So you go there. They know if they can get a couple of wins, jumps them right back in. You have about, I think, 12 conference games remaining. So not a whole lot of margin of error. Talk about what you see in them.
They're a team that I know is very well coached. They're a team that doesn't have a lot of pop. And on the mound, they're struggling a little bit. They lost the other night. They're, I think, 20-0. So they struggled on the mound there. But I know his kids are going to compete. At their place, they're a better ball club. club at home than they are on the road, and they haven't had a chance to play too many ball games at home. So I know they're going to be excited about doing that, playing at home. When both teams get a chance to be outside in weather like we're going to have here today and tomorrow, where it's not mid-70s, we're not used to this stuff. I don't know what it's like coaching and playing, or kids playing baseball in short sleeves, because we haven't done that since even in Florida. So they're going to be a team that's going to compete, and they want to have a chance to be in this the top 5 get in, and so they're not out of it. They have a chance to be one of those top 5 if they have a good weekend. We just can't let them do that. We've got to play our game of baseball, and if we do, it's going to be tough to stop us.
Of course, you will go, I'm sure, with 1 and 2 this week as far as pitching wise. Will we see Walter?
We're mixing it up. Yeah, Walter's going to go game 1, and we're actually going to move Joey Gerbus into the second spot this week. We wanted to kind of mix it up a little bit. Kind of what we have set up for next week and our midweeks there, and having Gorman and Greavy face those guys against Mount St. Joe's. Gorman had a lot of success against them last year, obviously, and then Greavy beat them in the championship game here on our field. So we kind of wanted to go with those guys and kind of set ourselves up a little bit differently on the weekend with Walter, and then with Joey, who's thrown well for us this season as well.
All right. Friday, 1 o'clock game time for game number 1, and then you're probably looking at around 3:45, maybe 4-ish again for game number 2. Do they, just for the fans, I don't know if they have any live...
It'll be live stats. I don't believe they have
broadcast.
the video there, but they'll have live stats on that. Again, when we walk away from Sadler Stadium and away from RadioTroy.com, it's different. And, again, we're blessed to have you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're wearing the Earlham gear as we do this, again, with that St. Louis Cardinals hat and, obviously your own T-shirt there. But, again, it's cool.
Hey, but I got before we go, I was representing Earlham very well in San Antonio this past week, and so I had to wash some of that stuff, so I apologize. But it was recognized down there.
I just guess have to get more stuff so you don't have to wash anything.
I like that hat too, man. Coach, good luck this week.
All right, man, thank you.
All right, again, Earlham, Defiance, 1 o'clock, game time number 1, and then that'll be followed by game number 2. And unfortunately can't see the game, but once the Quakers come back next Tuesday, we'll have it right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports. Hey, thanks for being with us. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk with the head coach next week once again right here on Strictly Baseball and Radio Troy Digital Sports.